Good morning, everybody. For those of you who, well, actually, good morning, good afternoon, and also good night for some people. Heijin is joining us from South Korea, and it's 1 a.m., which is wild. So hello, if we've not met before, my name is Maggie. I'm the Community Product Manager for DataHub, and super excited to walk you all through what we've been up to over the past few weeks. So as always, we take some time to kind of reflect on how the community has grown over the past few weeks. We're just over 6,700 people in the Slack community. As always, we continue to see just like a really lively conversation happening there. We have exactly, this is the second time this has happened. In the past 4 weeks, we had exactly 1,000 weekly active users. I promise I didn't make up that number. It's the second time we've had precisely 1,000. I don't get it, but it is what it is. But 6,800 messages posted. Of course, the conversation is always very lively in there. So as always, we're continuing to see a huge influx of new members and just a ton of activity in our community. We do take a look at our GitHub activity. So we saw a big spike in PRs coming through in the last 2 weeks. I know the core team is hard at work trying to move through those at a rapid of pace as is possible. So we saw an average of 69 new PRs in the past 4 weeks. An average of 69 new PRs per week in the last 4 weeks. And I always like to remind folks that if you're able to, jump in and provide support to others in the DataHub community. This just brings up a lot of bandwidth for the core team to make sure that we're shipping features, also moving through PRs from community contributors. So if you're able to jump in and provide support, we are always super, super appreciative of that. We did see a slight decline in the number of support requests that came in on a weekly basis. So we saw around 600 per week, which is a dip, but it's still 600 support messages per week. So it's super high volume of conversations that are happening in our support channels. Quick reminder, we have Data Council happening next week. So we have a ton of events related to the DataHub community. We're hosting a happy hour alongside the Great Expectations team and Astronomer. So this QR code, if you are in the Austin area, even if you're not coming to Data Council, if you're in the Austin area, we'd love to see you there. The QR code will take you to the RSVP. We'll actually give you a voucher towards your Uber ride if you're coming from the conference center. And then Paul and I are hosting a hands-on workshop to get people up and running with DataHub. And I'm speaking alongside Kyle Eaton from the Great Expectations community to talk about open source partnerships. So great talk happening there. And last but not least, I got to give a big shout out to our guy, Shirshanka. He's given a keynote on day one, first talk of the day of the conference. He's going to be speaking about building a control plane for data. I'm personally super excited for this talk. And also, this is Shirshanka's second keynote of the year. Hello, kicking it off. We're going strong in the conference scene in 2023. So
no pressure, no pressure.
No pressure, none. Just kicking off a 3-day conference, no big deal. So yeah, if you're in Austin, come join us. We'd love to hang out with you. Also, I'm very excited to announce that the Acral Data team is welcoming 3 new engineers to our team. So you will likely start seeing these folks in the community interacting with you more. So we have Indy, Andrew, and Kevin joining. Really exciting to have the Acral team growing and also, just have these folks hanging out with us. So welcome to the team, guys. All right, my favorite time of town hall every time is our community shout outs. We have an awesome community of people who are going above and beyond to help us out. We have a new blog post to check out from Ada. Ada's on the team over at Notion. She spoke at a town hall recently, if you had joined that one. But this is a great walkthrough of how she's using DataHub to automate propagation between DataHub and DBT. Definitely recommend checking that out. And then, of course, we like to give a shout out to folks who are stepping up to provide community support. Like I said, this is so helpful for us to make sure that we can keep the momentum towards our roadmap. and just kind of provide support to folks as they're trickling into the community. So massive shout out to all of these folks. Thank you for going above and beyond to step in and help out. One thing we're going to be doing in the next month or so is rolling out something called the DataHub Community Council. As the community grows, we're really trying to find experimental ways or exploratory ways to engage the community, to really make sure that we have a robust support system or support network within the community, but also kind of one-on-one or just more closely partnering with folks who are super excited about DataHub, want to give us feedback on how we can make the community better, how we can make the project better. So we're going to be teaming up with folks to kind of keep up with all the momentum we have here. So the ways that we're looking to collaborate with folks here more closely is kind of providing that support system within the community itself, but then also partnering with us to test out upcoming releases. We'll have more expert panel conversations with the core data team. And then we'll also have a forum where we can all come together on a quarterly basis to talk about what's happening in the community, what's happening in the project, and how do we scale and make this a really vibrant and thriving space. So what you'll get in return there is direct access to collaborate with the team. So we'll have a really close partnership there. And you'll have a really strong influence on what our open source roadmap looks like, how we prioritize stuff. And as always, because I am a sucker for custom swag, we'll make sure that we have a strong swag showing there. So more information to come here, but just keep an eye out. I'll be announcing it within the community in April. All right, let's talk Q1 roadmap. Whoops. So from the user experience side of things, Brittany and I are currently going through discovery to improve our browse experience. We'll get a little bit of a sneak peek there of some of the work that we have in store. Subscriptions and Slack notifications is currently in testing. We're partnering with some of our design partners there. We don't have a concrete timeline on when we'll roll that out, but we'll keep you posted once we do have that timeline. In terms of ingestion, we're actually partnering with the folks over at Fivetran to build out a really strong integration there, so more to come there. And then we just have some discovery around encasing and improved error reporting. We've made some small progress here and there, but just wanted you all to know that we are working through both the design and kind of chipping away at some of the improvements there. In terms of developer experience, I'm going to hand this one over to Shirshanka.
Cool. Yeah, there's a couple of things that we wanted to hit this quarter. The first was having a tag and term propagation action out to you all. This basically will allow you to propagate tags and terms between entities that are connected via lineage all the way into your downstream warehouses like Snowflake. So a PR for that is open, and I'll walk you through that really quickly on the next slide. There's a big slew of improvements to search that have happened. If you've been paying attention to the PRs, a ton of work has happened in making search much more reliable, much more explainable, supporting pagination over a large number of entities, improvements in autocomplete. We're really excited to have finally kind of finished our list of broken glass in a way of search capabilities, and we're feeling really good about our ability to scale to really large number of entities, as well as explain every single search result at a pretty detailed level. So that's been merged fully in, and it'll be part of the new release. The other thing that was also kind of a commitment to the community was working on schemas as a top-level entity. So as of this morning, there is a PR open that includes model changes for creating schemas as a top-level entity. You might have noticed that we already have support for Avro and Protobuf and now JSON schemas for just schemas within data sets. So that support is already merged in. There'll probably be a very small PR coming on the heels of this that adds support for those sources to produce schemas as top-level entities themselves. So that's kind of coming up. And then finally, the schema registry itself is in flight. So there's a couple of PRs that are still work in progress. We expect to kind of close those out over the next few weeks. Probably, I would say end of April is where you'd probably see the schema registry showing up in the DataHub capabilities list. And just kind of giving you further detail on the tags and terms, the PR is open on the actions repo, and it gives 3 kinds of actions. The first is a tag sync or a tag propagation action. So that propagates tags across your entities. The second is a glossary term propagation action that propagates terms across entities. It actually takes into account whether the term is directly or indirectly linked to the term that you want propagated. So for example, if you have a term called email that is attached to a column and you want to propagate all terms that are of type or is a sensitive term or a confidential term, it'll take that into account and propagate them over. And finally, there's a Snowflake propagation action additionally added on to this, which allows you to take these tags and then propagate them into Snowflake directly. So for people who know, Snowflake itself has a pretty comprehensive tag-based masking and other kinds of capabilities that they offer on the platform. So with this now, you can essentially attach tags to Snowflake tables on DataHub and then have those tags propagate into Snowflake so that you're getting all of the benefits of Snowflake's own data management capabilities by having these tags show up autonomously or automatically in Snowflake from DataHub. So that's what we have on the roadmap updates.
Alrighty. So in terms of recent releases, it's actually been a little while since we've cut a release, and we are currently prepping a release for I think it should come out by the end of this week. So what I'm going to walk through here is actually a summary of what's to come. We do not have the release cut and ready for you just yet, but we'll keep folks posted. But just in the past 4 weeks, we've merged 285 PRs. Are you kidding me? That is outstanding. I was going through the commit log, and it's a dizzying amount of activity in this repo. On top of that, we had 20 first-time contributors, which is outstanding. Almost half of our contributors were doing so for the first time in the past month. So I'm continually very, very impressed by the velocity of this community, and nonstop thrilled to see how many new people are jumping in to help us out. So huge shout out there. In terms of what's to come in this release, from the user experience side, if you were in Town Hall or if you saw Town Hall in February, we are rolling out a new, or this includes the new queries tab, where we're surfacing not only just kind of top queries that have been executed from our system logs, but you can actually go into the UI and manually add a query, also add annotation around it, so to provide context for folks about what it represents or how it should be used. So if you want to see a demo of that, John put together a great demo in our last town hall that's available on our YouTube. We also had a community-led contribution to enhance some of the glossary term relationships. So we used to have, within the UI, I used to be able to see a glossary term inherits or contains, and now you can see kind of the opposite relationship of where that glossary term is inherited by or contained by something else. For folks that have very large instances of DataHub, there were some persistent issues of downloading entities to CSV. We have since resolved that, so you should be able to download a CSV regardless of the volume of entities you're trying to extract there. For developer experience, Shirshanka, do you want to speak to this one?
Sure. Yeah, I think we have a few improvements on top of stuff I already talked about, right? JSON schema source, we now have it. Neo4j is a graph database that some people use as the backend for DataHub. It's not something that we see used widely, but it is a pluggable backend that we support. And so we had a really great PR come in that adds support for time-based filtering on lineage, which was a new capability we added for the Elasticsearch-based backend recently. So that came in. The timeline API, which is used for essentially being able to look back at the history of schemas and data sets in general, now also supports glossary terms. So now you can actually look at the history of a glossary term, how it changed over time. And finally, some small changes were made to improve the startup time for the DataHub CLI. So it starts up much sooner now than it used to before. Big shout out to the team that's pushing forward docs and guides, that Hagen, Paul, and Maggie, and the rest of the team. But really, these folks are leading the charge on that. We've got a lot of improvements to understand DataHub APIs at a glance, table of contents, new guides, and I think we'll see a little bit of that today.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, search improvements, lots of search improvements across the board. We've added targeted caching in a few places to make that page responsivity extremely fast and delightful. So this new release is going to feel much snappier and will actually be extremely robust at high scale is kind of what we're looking for. That's pretty much it. And then on the ingestion side, lots and lots of improvements. So BigQuery and Power BI have had the biggest lifts this release, improvements to memory usage. We did some framework level improvements to actually support off memory storage during ingestion. So we're able to actually do large audit log ingestions and aggregations and things like that without actually stressing the memory of the ingestion system itself. So that leads to, and those benefits will show up across all of the connectors over time. BigQuery is the first one that's getting it. Power BI, we've had a lot of improvements in lineage extraction, entity descriptions, things like that, and a host of improvements to all of the other connectors. And I'll not read through it, but pretty much every important connector went through some improvement or the other.
All right. One thing I want to call out here, Paul Logan on my team put together a new kind of like one-stop shop integrations page to understand at a glance all the different systems that DataHub integrates with. So this is now, you'll see this on our homepage. There's a new integrations tab up here. You can search across, it searches across all of the different sources that we support. You can also filter based off of push, pull, different platform types. So, BI tool, orchestration tool, database, etc. So take a look there. We're hoping to make this. The goal is to make it much more accessible to understand, all the ways that you can integrate with DataHub. So huge shout out to Paul. He took the lead on that one and pulled that together in a matter of a couple weeks. So it was pretty awesome there.